Good afternoon, everybody. In today's Dharma Talk, I wanted to bring up the topic of why other people seem to get what they want and you don't. One of the biggest things that people seem to come across when it comes to getting what they want is they have this kind of mentality that well, I'm not going to ask her out unless I know she's going to say yes. Or I'm not going to pursue that business unless I know it's going to be successful, okay? And the very nature of holding yourself back from the opportunity, from creating it, is the problem itself, okay? There is no alternate universe or alternate reality that is just waiting on hold for you to reach for it. If you don't make changes don't happen, okay? And I think that's one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves is, I'm just going to wait for this opportunity to come. I'm just going to wait for something magical to fall in my lap. I'm going to wait for the right person to show up. Especially like in relationships, we wait for the right person to show up instead of taking the initiative to become the right person so that we're actively involved in that process. Or when it comes to building a business, for example, we say, well, I don't want to leave my day job unless I can guarantee that this business that doesn't even exist is going to do well. When we go to make changes, there are three main components that you have to look at. The first one is psychological, the second one is emotional, and the third one is physical, or logistical. When we are going to make changes, the ego, the mind, and the visceral body are going to usually work against us in the beginning, okay? If we've been wired for a certain state of being long enough, then in the process of making a change, we're going to have to break down the old pattern, okay? So you hear people say oh my gosh, I'm being met with nothing but adversity. I'm being met with nothing but resistance. Everyone is rejecting me. This isn't working. And I'm talking to the percentage of people who are okay, let's take the risk. Let's try to make it work. And they find that they're up against some wall, and it's different for every person. What we come up against in the process of change is a direct reflection of the things that we have to break down in our own mind and our body. When I say mind, I say beliefs. When I say body, I say feelings. So that's the emotional and the psychological. So you have to anticipate that when you're going to make a big reality shift, that things are going to fall apart first, not look the way that you want, feel and look really ugly, and have absolutely no evidence of success. If you were to tear down a house, if you were to bulldoze a building so you could create space for something new to be built, that's what you would get. You would get a bunch of destruction and a big pile of rubble, okay, that you have to sift through. It's no different when it comes to the process of creating your own life. It's just that because it's not so obvious to the naked eye, we mistake it and we think, oh, it's not possible, it's not meant for me, it's not going to happen. And the other thing is, and this just blows my mind, the more and more I create, the more exciting it is for me, because the more I see that my experience on the outside is 100% a direct reflection of what I am aligning myself with on the inside. And so we move out of a place. People who are really successful, they move from this place of waiting for life to act upon them, and they move into this vulnerable, empty space where they choose to guide and direct the energy to what they want to act upon instead, okay? So again, the process of change is going to come with a breaking down of the old, whether it's patterns, paradigms, beliefs, habits, whatever. You're going to have to break through those and create this kind of space of emptiness first so you can redirect that energy and then move into what you do want to draw in, okay? But don't mistake the destruction for evidence that it's not meant to happen. It's absolutely 100% part of the process. And the more invested you are in the old ways, the more you're going to have to break down, okay? And even people like myself who are always creating and manifesting, you know, I come across old conditioning all the time where I find a blind spot I didn't know was there, and then I have to sift through and then refine that piece, and then I keep moving. But if you're living in a state of like, I'm just going to wait for things to get better, or, you know, I'm a victim, therefore nothing good ever happens for me. And victimization doesn't always look like victimization, okay? Victimization could be as easy as saying, you know, God's against me, my environment's against me. Like, it's really easy to play a victim role without recognizing that we are. And a lot of times people will say, oh, I'm not ready for that, or I am ready for that. And the best way to measure being ready or not is whether or not something is viable. So if you have the opportunity to change, to break down an old pattern, if it's viable and tangible to do that, you're ready, okay? If a new opportunity comes in, but you feel scared because you're like, oh my gosh, this is different, I don't know how to do this, but it's viable and you can actually reach for it, you're ready, okay? If you are preparing for something and you're like, why isn't the money coming in? Why isn't the business coming in? And it's just, all that means that there's more work to be done. It doesn't mean that it's not possible. It just means in the process, you're not quite ready for the opportunity because there's more work to be had, okay? So we're never more than just a few degrees away from what we want. It's just a matter of how invested we are in what's working versus what's not working, all right? So, but the reason that this alternate reality isn't just falling in your lap is because, number one, you haven't let go of the old reality, and number two, you haven't even begun to really move into that naked space of drawing in and creating that new reality. Once you really start focusing on that part, once you've given yourself enough distance from the old, things will absolutely come in, because frequency does not discriminate. It has no agenda. So once you've created that space, your vibration will absolutely bring it to you, okay? I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. And, you know, this is why I decided to move more into coaching versus yoga, because I like to dissect these problems for people and to kind of help them get unstuck. But if you have any questions or comments, feel free to message me on Facebook or YouTube. And otherwise, have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.